Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. This is the episode 163. If this is your first time joining me, please give me a big thumbs up. Oh, we're not live yet, so there's that. Oh, I guess we are live. Oh my God. I'm like, it says live 33 seconds. Does that mean it's 33 seconds till we go on? You know, it's always shenanigans when I do it by myself. But anyway, if this is your first time joining me, please give me a thumbs up to let me know you were here. Click the bell for notifications if you are on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. You never know who you may see, what you might see, when you might see. All right. So here we go. This week, so I usually always start out the show talking about what I did the week before, and this week will be no different. So this is what I did the week before. I attended a couple of virtual premiere events, so I'll talk about those. But first, before I get into that, let me just say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I don't know what you did with your mom, but I had ordered some food for my mom. It didn't quite work out, so then I had to run to the grocery store and buy some food. So that was a whole nother situation. But yeah, so there we go. And it turned out fine. She loved it. I made her like some French toast with blueberries and blackberries and some poached eggs with avocado and bacon because she loves bacon. So there you have it. And then I attended the Turner Classic Movie Film Festival, which is being virtual for the second year in a row. It is streaming live on the Turner Classic Movie channel. So if you have whatever cable company or satellite company that you have that you're streaming that, you can see the Turner Classic Film Festival that way. And or if you have HBO Max, you can see a lot of the festival's content from there. But I wanted to just take a look back and say, you know, when I auditioned for Turner Classic Movies way back in the day, I had no idea that I would end up not only hosting it for Black Hollywood Live, but then I would end up hosting it again with Ben Mankiewicz. So that is my homage to Turner Classic Movies and the Turner Classic Movie Film Festival. I had an opportunity to screen a couple of things there that were really, really wonderful. They did some great tributes to some folks. The very opening night, they had a tribute, not tribute, but they had a conversation with the stars of West Side Story, George Chakiris, Rita Moreno, and Russ Tamblyn, and they reminisced about the West Side Story in 1961, and then they talked about Rita's role in the film, the new film that is being directed by Steven Spielberg that will be out. I think it will be out later this year. Not sure on the dates, but Rita Moreno talked a lot about, you know, working with Natalie Wood, working with Russ, how her and George Chakiris are so tight to this day. She talked about playing Anita and how much that meant to her, being a Puerto Rican and actually portraying somebody that is Puerto Rican as opposed to having somebody else be Puerto Rican in the film. And that she loved being in the number America. She absolutely loved doing that. And in the movie version, you're going to see Ariana DeBose, who was in The Prom over the summer, play Anita in the new version of the movie. So we're looking forward to all of that coming up. I also had an opportunity to screen these tributes to Ali MacGraw, who was the star of Love Story, and Danny Glover, who you've seen him in the Lethal Weapon franchise. You've seen him in The Color Purple. You've seen him in a plethora of things. But those two tributes, if you have HBO Max and or you are streaming the Turner Classic Movie Film Festival, or you can go to turnerclassicmovies.com, tcm.com, and see those tributes. They're absolutely wonderful. I also love to watch my other favorite movie by Martin Scorsese. And what is that, do you ask? What is my favorite movie by Martin Scorsese? It is Goodfellas. Yes. So I got to see Goodfellas, and then I watched a thing about they had a essentials package called not all the president's men, but they had an essentials package in which all the president's men was included in that package. And I love this image right here where it shows Richard Nixon and Woodard and Bernstein, played by Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford, in the background, typing up their story as Richard Nixon is being inaugurated, knowing that in a few minutes he's about to get impeached. So there was that. Not impeached, but he ended up, did they impeach him? I think they did impeach him, and they put him out of office. I was like, oh, okay, Richard Nixon is out of here. But I love going to the Turner Classic Movie Film Festival. You guys know how much I love classic film. It is my total jam. I love it so much. And so if you have an opportunity, it's been up since May 6th. May 9th, which is tonight, will be the last day. And you know what? Thank you for the happy Mom's Day, Brandon. I'm not a mom, but I have a mother. So I will tell my mother that you said happy Mother's Day. And thank you for joining me for the broadcast. You know, I always love to see you here. All right. Again, you guys check out the Turner Classic Movie Film Festival when you have an opportunity. And that is that. I also had an opportunity to attend a virtual premiere event for this show called Z-Way. It's called Z-Way. And it's on Showtime. It debuts tonight. It is a sketch comedy show. It is hella funny. There is a moment where Z-Way has an iconic conversation with Fran Lebowitz. You do not want to miss that at all, because it was something to see. So here's my little selfie that I took in honor of Z-Way, and they gave me this wonderful package, which I took a picture of, and I wanted to share that as well. What else did I do this week? I did I do so many things, y'all. I can't keep track. But oh yes, so I also attended Girls Five Eva, which is a new sitcom written by Tina Fey. Is streaming right now on Peacock TV. It also started streaming on May 6th. It's about this old pop group that gets a second chance to relive their glory days, so to speak. And so I attended that virtual event online. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that very much. They did a concert at the Hollywood Bowl. And in the series is Sarah Bareilles, who wrote the music, Paula Pels, who you may know her from Saturday Night Live back in the day, Renee Elise Goldsberry from Hamilton, and Busy Phillips. They did that. They sang at the Hollywood Bowl. They streamed it live on YouTube. It was really great. And then they sent your girl this basket, which I was totally in awe of. It had a little rosé wine, had a little skylight, and the skylight reflects like little not purple, but green and blue stars on the ceiling, had some cheese and some jam. I got my gig all the way on. And of course, since Brandon is in the audience, I have to give Brandon a shout out, because he drew this for me in honor of Mitchell versus Machines, which I will be reviewing a little later in the show. All righty, so let's get right on into the reviews for today. All right, I hope you like that, Brandon. I did that just for you. That was what my week was like. So I usually do Around the Curve, you guys, but this week, because I have so many films to get to and there's so much content here, I'm going to put Around the Curve on my TikTok and Instagram pages, and you can see it there. So in honor of Mother's Day, I saw and let me tell you what's up for the show today. So up for the show today, we're doing a review. We're doing reviews on In Our Mother's Garden, which is on Netflix. I'm going to talk about some Mother's Day films that, for some people, it's not too late, so you can still watch some films with your mom. I love Soul Food. I love Joy Luck Club and Little Women. I'll talk about those. I'm also going to show some interviews on a film called Finding You. And I directed. I spoke with the director, Brian Ball, and the stars Jedidiah Goodacre and Rose Reid. And Jedidiah Goodacre got me good. Y'all are going to love that one. I'm also going to talk, like I said, about Mitchell versus Machines, which I meant to talk about last week, but ran out of time. I'm going to talk about Monster, which is on Netflix. I'm going to talk about Citizen Penn, which is running on Discovery Plus, Duty Free, which is an IFC film, which is in theaters and streaming on the Duty Free film site. And I'm going to talk about Here Today, because now the embargo isn't lifted and I can talk about that. And I have a very special interview for you guys featuring the Upshaws. That would be Wanda Sykes, who plays Letitia, Kim Fields, who plays Regina, and Mike Epps, who plays Bernie. I've got all that for you. And then I'll tell you what's up next week when we get to the end of the show. But right now, let me get into these Mother's Day things that I want to talk about really quickly. So, In Our Mother's Garden is a film that is streaming on Netflix that I absolutely, absolutely love. It is directed and it's written by Chantrell P. Lewis. And Chantrell grabbed a whole bunch of women together and got these stories from them. And it's an Array film. Array is a company that is run by Ava DuVernay. So it's produced by that company. And it is, they have this moment where there's like talking photos, which is like old photos where the mouths are moving, which is absolutely hilarious. And then they have like they have Barbie and Ken talking to a Barbie, Harriet Tubman. It's pure comedy, but it basically deals with African American women, women from the Caribbean, and Latino women talking about themselves, their mothers, their grandmothers, and what that generational feeling is coming from your mother's garden into the world as you are navigating and flowing through it in this moment. It is a beautiful film. It's about 90 minutes long. You guys will absolutely love it. It's beautiful, beautifully done. And I wholeheartedly recommend it. Again, it is called In Our Mother's Gardens. It features the stories of all these women, including Miss Tarana Burke, who you guys may remember from the Me Too Times Up movement. She talks about she talks about her gun-toting grandma. The stories are absolutely hilarious. I highly suggest that you check them all out. It is really quite lovely. So again, it is streaming on Netflix. It is called In Our Mother's Gardens. So now I want to implore you that if you don't have time to check out Netflix, or you just may not be in the mood to be that deep, check out Soul Food, which is streaming online. Soul Food is a film that was done back in the day. It's a generational story about these three African American sisters and their mother and their relationship, all three of them, the relationship to their mother, and what happens when she passes away and they're trying to figure out what to do with the house. And it really deals with the importance of food in the African American community, because that's a really important component in our culture. And then food is an important component in a lot of cultures, but particularly in the Black culture, there's a lot going on with us. So I highly suggest you see Soul Food. I highly suggest you check out Little Women, the Greta Gerwig one. I love the Greta Gerwig version. And that's streaming online. And you can also check out the Joy Luck Club, which is based on a book by Amy Tan. It also is a generational story, but it's a generational story dealing with Asian women and their mothers. And it's riveting, and it totally, totally, totally stands the test of time. You guys will love, love, love that film. All right, so let's get into these interviews. The first interview that I did is with the director of this film called Finding You. Now, I will talk about the film after the interviews, because some of what I'm going to say about the film, they're going to address in the interviews, and I don't want to ruin that for you. So here is my interview with the director of Finding You. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Brian Baugh. Hello, Brian.
Hey there, Colin.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I loved Finding You. It was so yummy to watch. I loved it very, very much. What brought you to that book, There You'll Find Me by Jenny?
Well, I have to admit, it was from one of the executive producers who had a vision for it and then brought it to me. So that was their doing. But I did fall for what it could be, and the amazing stories in it, and of course the location.
Yes, and I love the whole theme about Finley going to take a semester abroad in Ireland, because that's a real thing. A lot of kids were able to do that pre-pandemic. So I loved being able to watch that on screen and watch it all play out. There's a line where somebody says mistaking arrogance for confidence. What does that mean for you?
Oh, I think it was that was one of Beckett's lines on the plane early on, as he's just justifying some of his confidence. And to me, yeah, I think he's a confident guy, and he's a movie star, and so he's trying to just defend his confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is amazing. All that beautiful, rich, lush Irish music. How
Yeah.
did you settle on which tracks to include? And did anything kind of like end up on the cutting room floor somewhere?
Yeah, there were a few good ones that ended up on the cutting room floor, but yeah, our composers, Tim Williams and Kieran Kiley. Kieran is from Ireland, and so he played a big role in digging into tons and tons of old traditional Irish tracks, and then some newer ones. But all of these, what they call trad music over there, standing for traditional. And then we were able to transform those and modernize them a little bit and put our touches on them. But hats off to the composers for doing that, especially Kieran.
I loved it. I love Irish music. I love that type of music. It brings me a lot of joy. It really, really does.
I know. It is incredible. It's great to hear it live too, and to be in those pubs and hearing it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mrs. Sweeney has a line where she says that she about her relationship with her sister, that she wore anger like a grand fur coat. Have you ever been to the point where you were that angry with somebody that you wore it like a badge of honor?
I maybe when I was younger, perhaps, but thankfully I don't know that I've ever gotten quite that far. I think early on I was able to see the detrimental effects of what that character went through and see that in other people. And I, for the most part, I think have tried to avoid it. I haven't held grudges for a super long time like she did.
Cool. Beckett is figuring out this whole plan B situation. Have you ever had a plan B?
I've been tempted to think about it, but man, I think I would have done it if I had a good one a long time ago, because filmmaking can be hard. But no, I've held out. I've held out for Plan A, and thankful for it.
And I'm thankful for it too, because this was a really wonderful project. I can't wait for people to see it. Thank you so much, Brian, for your time today. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for all your kind words. And yeah, I like your little sign back there too. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye now.
All right. Take care.
I will. All right. Thank you, Brian. That was wonderful. He seemed a little on the shy side, but it's all good. You know how we do with the Curvy Critic. We'll roll any old kind of way. But yes, I love that the fact that this took place in Ireland is so lusciously green and beautiful. And green is not my favorite color, but watching this film almost made me change that. Now, next up is the female star of the show, the movie rather, of Finding You. Again, this movie will be in theaters on May 14th, and it will only be in theaters. I will let you guys know when it streams. And I have this wonderful interview with Miss Rose Reid. We talk about many, 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 many things. And I can't wait for you guys to see this interview with her. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Rose Reid.
Hi, how are you? I love that background. I love all the pink and the Napoli Ever After. Oh, so cute.
Oh, thank you so much. I love it too. Now, the first question I have to ask you is, were you doing the fingering on that violin? Because, girl, if you were getting down.
We actually practiced 3 months. I had a violin coach who worked with me for 3 months before we started filming to get me to where it really looked like I was playing the violin. So I give all the credit to my violin coach. But yes, we worked so hard on all of that.
Yeah, it was very, very, very convincing. What was the most difficult thing about learning that for you? Did your fingers cramp?
Yes, but I think the most difficult part of it was all the little tiny movements that nobody really notices, but a violinist would notice. Mm-hmm. And my violin coach and, of course, the director, Brian Baugh, was very attentive. They were both very attentive to those little things that little movements that violinists might do that I wasn't doing. And so I really appreciate that now that, there were all of these things that like, oh, okay, her wrist is too bent. That's weird. That looks weird. And, whatever it was. And I think I'm really grateful for it in the long run, but that was definitely the most difficult part.
Cool. So you guys were shooting in Ireland?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was, there's a question, not a question, there's a statement where somebody in the film says, being in Ireland taught me to look deeper, and things aren't always as it seems. While you were in Ireland, was there anything being there that taught you how to look deeper for yourself?
Absolutely. As I've said multiple times, the country itself really felt like a character, and it was something that, while I was there, I felt like there was something about a feeling. It was more of a feeling than anything you necessarily saw or did. It was more of a feeling of being in Ireland that really made you reconsider some choices, or maybe have some more self-reflection or look deeper into yourself. And I think that's why that line that Finley actually says really hit me, when I was reading it, and when I first looked at the script, I didn't totally understand it until I got to Ireland, and I was like, wow, okay, being here really does change you, I think.
It was beautiful. Everybody had a childhood crush on Beckett, but who was your childhood crush?
Well, actually, my childhood crush was Beckett for a while. That I read that book when I was 13 or 15 or something, in that age group. And oh my gosh, that was my childhood crush. But a kind of embarrassing childhood crush that's not really a crush, more so than it is just like respect, was Denzel Washington. Was always my favorite actor. And anything he watched, I was just like mesmerized. And so I think that's my, if I were to sit on a plane and have a celebrity sit next to me, Denzel Washington, please.
If Denzel sat next to you, you'd lose your mind, huh?
Oh my gosh, I don't think I'd be able to breathe, much less get out any questions or anything. But this man just looks like he experiences so much life and just has so much wisdom to share. And I just have so many questions for him.
I kind of love that you said that. Everybody loves Denzel Washington. I think I would have the same reaction too. Well, Rose, that is my time. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the film. You were fabulous in it.
Thank you, Carla, so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye now. When she said that she would lose her mind over Denzel Washington, that made me tee-hee-hee, and it made me chuckle just a little bit. But thank you, Rose. Thank you so much for that interview. You were delightful. Now, I saved the funniest one for last because your boy Jedidiah Goodacre had jokes. He had me blushing so badly that my nose turned cherry red. I'm looking like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It is pure comedy. But you will know Jedidiah from the Descendants franchise, which is on the Disney Channel, and they're actually filming Descendants 3 in Ireland right now. So without further ado, take a look and a listen to this interview with Jedidiah Goodacre from Finding You.
Carla, I am amazing, and you are fabulous. I don't even have to ask how you're doing. I know you're fabulous.
Why, thank you. You're giving me kind of, I'm sure you hear this all the time, kind of like young Heath Ledger vibes with the hair and everything. Yes.
Too kind. But
yes. Yes. Yeah. I love that. So in this film, there are thousands of girls all over the globe fiending and crushing on your character, Beckett. Is there a celebrity or someone that you crushed on really hard?
Oh man, I was, ever since I was younger and I saw the movie Selena with Jennifer Lopez, I was transfixed, and I was convinced that someday Jennifer Lopez and I would be happily married. But
well, you got time. You might want to put your bid in there, because she just broke up.
I'm putting this out here right now, so
she just got to break up
right here.
So you guys shot in Ireland. It's gorgeous over there. What was your favorite thing about shooting in that country? Had you been there before?
I had never been to Ireland, no. But that was my first time there, and it was a magical place. Like, the greens are so green, and the people are so cool, and like so vivacious. I think is a good word, but they're it was a fun place to work, and man, I'll go back as soon as I get the chance. So
cool. And Beckett is in this film. He's he really wants to go to his plan B, but everybody around him isn't really feeling that situation of going back to college and just, not living that movie star life. If you had to choose a plan B, what would it be for you?
Oh, I know exactly what I would go build houses. I would, I did that for a couple of years before deciding to go for my dream of studying acting. I built houses, and I love swinging a hammer, cutting wood, and it's like playing with Lego, but for big boys, or big adults. Sorry.
But for real.
But yeah, that's what I would do for sure.
Cool. And both of these characters, Finley and Beckett, seem to be, for lack of a better way to say it, blinded by love. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you were so blinded by your feelings for that person that you didn't know when to dip out, so to speak?
Right now. I am blinded by love, Carla.
You're good. You're a good one. Charming and good. Okay. Now my nose is red like Rudolph. I look like the reindeer. It's so sad.
No, it's rosy. I thought you put some blush on there or something like that. That's gonna be a
no, because you make me blush, and I blush on my nose like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. It's so sad.
You're so cute. Oh my goodness. Maybe we are falling in love. I've been blinded by the light before. Sometimes it works out for the best. Sometimes it works out for not so much the best. But each time I just try to be thankful and aware of each time something like this happens, Carla, because it's magic and it doesn't happen to everybody. Not everybody's this lucky. So I just want to be aware of this moment that I've been blinded.
Well, actually, I almost don't want this moment to end, but alas, it must. That is my time. With your charming, flirty self. Shame on you. But thank you, Jedidiah. This has been most delightful. I wish you so much luck in your career moving forward. You're very talented.
Thank you very much, Carla. I wish you all the luck and all the love in the world.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye now. To keep up with the Curvy Critic, like our page here, click that subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications. Love, peace, and hair. All right. and now that commercial time is over. He made my nose red. I was so embarrassed. I was really embarrassed. But he really was delightful. He's delightful in real life. He's delightful in the film. Again, you can catch him and Rose Reid, directed by Brian Baugh, and Finding You, which will be in theaters only beginning May 14th. That wore me out. Oh my God, that was so incredibly funny. All right, so now we're going to get to Brandon's favorite part of the show. Dun, da, da, da. We're going to talk about Mitchells versus Machines. I kind of loved this movie. It's a lot of fun. I loved it. It's on Netflix. It's directed by Mike Rianda, and it's written by himself and Jeff Rowe, I believe. And it's based on the real Mitchell family. It's produced by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who are from the Lego movie and Spider-Man versus the Spider-Verse. They did that film too. They live in that lane, and they are bringing us a delightful animated feature that is on Netflix at the moment. I really, really kind of love this, and this is why. It deals with parents and the internet and how parents sometimes are just so they're so set in their ways. They don't know how to type in a URL. Like there's this one moment where the dad is it's like, the URLs are www. And the daddy is typing in www, the word dot, and trying to get in the words, and he's racing against the clock to get it in. But it was so funny. It made me laugh. The film is very funny. It's very sweet. It has great characters. The comic timing of everybody is really on point. Is brilliantly written. The jokes land in a zillion different ways, right on time. Linda plays, who is the mom, is voiced by Maya Rudolph. Rick is the dad, who is voiced by Danny McBride. And it deals with Katie, who loves her family, but she's convinced that her dad and her mom don't get her or her film school aspirations. And that's where the movie starts to kind of go, but it's a lot of fun. It's high on action. And then, of course, we have a villain who is a cell phone. I love that they made the villain a cell phone. And I love that they made the cell phone villain Olivia Colman, because that just makes me laugh out loud. It's a lot of fun. It will bring you a lot of joy. Again, it's something that the whole family can sit around and watch with their mom on Mother's Day. So again, Mitchells versus Machines is on Netflix. It is streaming right now. It has been streaming for about a week, maybe a week and a half, and you can catch it right now on Netflix. It's so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Brandon, you relate to Katie, huh? Yeah, I think a lot of people relate to Katie, because everybody has that parent that just doesn't get it. And Katie has these aspirations and all these things that she wants to do. And then by the end, they all come to the realization of what's going on, and they get her, and everything, of course, ends happily ever after, which we always love in a good, family story film. But what is not so light and fluffy and a family story film is this next film that I'm going to talk about. It is streaming on Netflix. It is called Monster, and it stars one of my favorite actors, Kelvin Harrison Jr. This film is one of these films that is really difficult to watch, because it deals with a subject matter that we see played out all too often. There we go. We see it played out all too often. And it basically deals with this young man who is 17 years old, played by Kelvin Harrison Jr. And what happens with him is he's an aspiring photographer. He wants to go to school to be a photographer. He's living in Harlem, and his world literally gets turned upside down when he's charged with a murder that goes down in a bodega in Harlem. And the film follows his dramatic journey through a really intensely complex legal battle dealing with that situation. It's directed by Anthony Mandler. It stars Kelvin Harrison Jr., as I said, Jennifer Hudson, and Jeffrey Wright. It begs the question, monsters don't cry in the dark. Because if someone is considered a monster, someone who has no problem taking another life, it's perceived that, they don't cry in the dark, but somebody who's not guilty does. So there's that. And then there's the question of, is he a human being or is he a monster? Is Steve that person? We don't think so. And then it also brings light to the question of, when the jury comes into court, they say about Steve that he looks like the type, and they look like the type that probably don't watch the news and don't see that there's different types of African Americans. It totally questions the fact that, the thing about the adage in the legal system about guilty until proven innocent, because a lot of times people just make sure that you're guilty based on how you look. And jail can make you a monster when you go in there, even though you didn't come in there that way. This Steve, played by Kelvin, is a young Black man on trial. He's seen guilty from the moment that the jury laid eyes on him. What I love about it is that it approaches this scenario that we've seen a zillion times in an intelligent way. And they also read the stage directions while the action is being played out on screen, which adds, I think, to the drama and the intensity of the subject matter. But again, you guys, I think it's worth taking a look at, and I think it's worth taking a watch, especially for the performance of Kelvin Harrison Jr. I've spoken about him on this podcast many times. I adore his work, and I think he's extremely talented. But it's streaming on Netflix right now. It's one of the top 10 things streaming on Netflix this week. I also had an opportunity to watch another documentary that features this guy right here, Sean Penn. So Sean Penn, a lot of people when they think about Sean Penn, they think about Madonna, they think about his marriage to Madonna, they think about all those things. But this is something that's really interesting. Sean Penn is he is a philanthropic person now. He is the person that when stuff went awry in Haiti, when they got slammed with those earthquakes and natural disasters, Sean Penn started an organization and he went over there and he helped the people of Haiti. He was adamant and passionate about it. And when the COVID-19 pandemic hit America, he was also passionate and adamant about kicking in some money to help get the vaccines because he cares. Now, this is what's interesting. It's on Discovery Plus. It's written, directed, and produced by Don Hardy, and it deals with the philanthropic efforts of this Oscar-winning actor. The thing that's funny about it is that when you think about Sean Penn, being philanthropic is not the first thing that comes to mind. The first thing that comes to mind is that, you know, he was married to Madonna. He was married to Robin Wright. He had a little reputation, as did Russell Crowe back in the day, for having a little bit of a temper. He had a reputation for not being the most reliable person because of, you know, whatever he was going through personally. And in this documentary, they shed a little bit of light on his personal life, but it mostly focuses on his philanthropic efforts with Haiti and with COVID-19. It's very educational. I highly suggest you check it out. It is streaming right now on Discovery Plus. The next film I would like to delve into is a film called Duty Free, because what? It's Mother's Day. And this mom right here is everything. Her name is Rebecca. And Rebecca worked in a hotel and lived above a hotel for over 40 years. When she lost her job, she became despondent. She's 80 something years old. She became despondent. She's like, who's going to hire an 80-year-old woman? And she was sounding like she probably was going to tap out. Into her son. Her son came to her rescue and he saved his mother. He was like, oh, but no, not on my watch. You are not going anywhere. So he did a GoFundMe to create, he asked his mother to create a bucket list for herself. And he did a GoFundMe where he raised all this money, like thousands over what he had anticipated. And, on his mother's bucket list were these things, which I thought were hilarious: to join Instagram, milk a cow, take a hip hop class, return to Detroit. When you see the film, you'll understand what that means. Reunite with her daughter, Joanne. Again, when you see the film, you'll understand what that means. Visit her sister Elsie's grave, bake a cake with Layla, who was her granddaughter, and skydive in Hawaii. When I tell you, I watched this with my mother, and I was in the ugly cry, my mom, not so much, but it was the most heartwarming story because it showed how much love this son had for his mother. That, you know, most kids, when their parents get frustrated with technology or frustrated with life, or they have a situation in life that kind of takes them out of sorts a little bit, the kids kind of go, oh, whatever. This son stepped up to the plate, and he stepped up and he stepped in and he showed out for his mom. And it was the best thing ever to watch. So again, it's called Duty Free. If you want to stream it or find out where to watch it in a theater, it's produced by IFC Films and Rebecca's son, Sean Pierre Regis. And you can go to dutyfreefilms.com to stream the film. And yeah, it's beautiful. You guys will absolutely, absolutely love it. All right. So last but not least, the last film I'm going to talk about is this film, because I couldn't talk about it last week because it was under embargo. It's called Here Today, and it stars Tiffany Haddish and Billy Crystal. It's written, produced, and directed by Billy Crystal. And it's just a fun film. I love that Tiffany Haddish is singing in it. She's playing this struggling subway chanteuse named Emma Page, and Billy Crystal is playing a comic writer who's struggling to write his love story about his wife amidst his struggle with dementia. And they meet, and Tiffany ends up being an inspiration for him to finally get to the place where he can complete this story, or at least start on it. I love this film for this reason. You get to see dementia from the patient's point of view. And when I say from the patient's point of view, not like what you see when you watch The Father, but what you see when you watch a film about somebody who is experiencing dementia. You get to see this man, while he's still in control of his faculties, talk to his doctor about his medication. You see him desperately trying to hide it from his daughter and from his colleagues, and what kind of anguish and what kind of pressure that puts on him as he's trying to, like, you know, put that undercover. The film is, I feel like it is coming from a place of love, because as we know, Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg, and Robin Williams were really, really tight. And we know that Robin Williams was diagnosed with a form of dementia, which resulted in him taking his life. So I feel like this was a undercover love letter to his friend. And I thought it was beautifully done. I know a lot of critics don't agree with me, but you don't have to agree with me. That's why everybody has an opinion. So my opinion is I liked Here Today. I liked Billy Crystal and Tiffany Haddish in it, and I highly suggest that you check it out. It is hi, Kenneth Williams. I was like, oh, who is this joining? Who is this popping up in here today? What's up? How you doing? Good to see you. But I highly suggest you check it out. It's only in theaters as of May 6th. So if you are fully vaccinated and you want to get out of your house and go to a theater, which I'm sure is socially distanced depending on what area you live in, I highly suggest checking out Here Today. Now, this last interview that I have is with Kim Fields, Mike Epps, and Wanda Sykes. And they are on a show called The Upshaws, which is streaming as of today on Netflix, right in time for Mother's Day. You see how I swung that around and brought it full circle? Yes, Brandon, Robin Williams will be missed. I miss him every single day. He was one of my favorites. But back to The Upshaws. So The Upshaws is a show that is streaming on Netflix. It deals with this mechanic named Bernie, his wife Regina, and his sister-in-law Letitia, respectively played by Mike Epps, Kim Fields, and Wanda Sykes. Now, you guys, I do not review television shows. I can tell you, you can watch a TV show if I like it, but I don't review TV shows because I'm an actress on television. So let's just make that disclaimer right here and now. But I kind of love this series. I think it's hilarious. We get to see Black people interact like we interact in real life, and it's a gas. It's a stone gas, honey, as Don Cornelius would say. So I want you to take a look and a listen to this interview that I did with the Upshaws, Mike Epps, Wanda Sykes, and Kim Fields, and pay special attention to what I say about Hampton and Howard. Cool. This is Carla Renata. I am the Curvy Film Critic.
Cool.
Y'all, how you doing?
Good.
Hi. Hey. So I got to start off the interview this way, and I hate to do it, but I got to do it. I'm a graduate of Howard University, and Wanda, I know you went to Hampton, but we the real HU, girl. The HU.
Don't
had to do it. Had to do
it. Now, I just celebrated my 35th class reunion over the weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, because we had a whole virtual weekend celebration. I'm sure y'all don't do stuff like that.
Look, don't come for me. Don't come for me. Come for a bison. Do not come for a bison, okay? Oh, y'all.
Don't know about that.
I had to start it off like that. You know, I had to do it. But you guys, good to see you. I love The Upshaws. It is really, really funny. It's good to see classic comedy, sitcom comedy back on television. And, we've been in this pandemic thing for a little over 13, 14 months. So what kind of parental advice would y'all have for somebody that's coming out post-COVID with their kids now going back to school? I'll start with Mike first.
I mean, I guess you ain't got to go to school in your pajamas no more. You get to really put on a full outfit. I think people need to come back, but come back cautious and still understand what we're going through, and embrace it lightly.
Okay, Kim.
Listen, people are still gonna be nasty. I saw somebody the other day. I was in a restaurant at a hotel, and this family, two grown folks and a son, and he had his nasty little barefoot up on the chair. I took a picture. People are still gonna be nasty, y'all. So just don't forget all the shit don't forget all that you learned to take care of yourselves and your children during COVID.
You
So
know?
now that we're on the other side and everybody's unzipped and can you feel a brand new day and all of that is marvelous. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, still wash your hands, still sanitize, and still maintain a certain level of awareness when it comes to your personal vibe.
You
I
feel me?
overstand. Y'all got my nose over here red like Rudolph. Oh, Jesus. Okay, Wanda.
I mean, I think what they both said sums it all up, you know. Yeah, just continue to be diligent and wash your hands, you know. If your kids, you know, I got one, like Kim said, like around a bunch of nasty people, hose them off in the front yard before you
Hose them off.
I hose them off in the front yard like a dog. I
Hose them
cannot.
off.
I cannot. All right, so we've been in quarantine, y'all. We've been locked down.
And
We've been
watch the
shut in.
Upshaws. And watch the
Yes,
Upshaws.
yes. We're gonna watch the
That's the
Upshaws.
other
We're gonna
thing.
encourage
Watch the
everybody to
Upshaws
do that.
get your funny on in the
Yes.
midst of coming out this pandemic. Absolutely, that's helping to create your new norm.
Yes, it's bringing some light into the situation. Real quick, give me your go-to karaoke song, Kim.
I'm Every Woman, Shaka Khan.
Yes, Wanda.
Oh my God. Let's groove tonight, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Get it, girl. Mike.
I think my go-to is Summertime, Will Smith.
Okay, y'all got me over here looking like Rudolph. It was so much fun to talk to y'all. I enjoyed the Upshaws. I'm gonna encourage everybody to see it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate every single last one of you.
Thank you.
All right,
Hampton.
Okay, don't start none. Won't be done. Okay. Bye. Okay. Why he got to start some stuff at the end. But anyway, y'all, the Upshaws is streaming on Netflix right now. Check it out. Again, it stars Regina. It stars Kim Fields as Regina, Mike Epps as Bernie, and Wanda Sykes as Letitia. It is on Netflix right now. Get your funny on, watch it with your mom. It's Mother's Day. We'll have a good time. But hold up, wait a minute before we get up out of here. Next week, I'm going to have a sports edition of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, and I may or may not have some interviews. You're just going to have to tune in and find out. There might be a little surprise hanging up in here for y'all, but it's definitely going to be a sports edition, and I'll be talking about some other things. But yeah, I wanted to do that, and then I also wanted to remind you guys again. Tonight is the final evening of the Turner Classic Film Festival. So make sure that you check that out. Again, the Upshaws on Netflix. Oh, it's not on Netflix right now. See, I did all that yammering, and it's coming on May 12th. May 12th. Not tonight, May 12th. So check it out. It's really funny. Here Today is in theaters right now. Citizen Penn is on Discovery Plus. You can check that out. And I also forgot to tell y'all, Jennifer Hudson's Respect, which is her version of the Aretha Franklin story, is coming to the streaming services very, very soon. And it stars herself and Marlon Wayans. You see him in the background as Ted White. All right. So again, if this is your first time joining me, I'm Carla Renata, the Curvy Film Critic. Give me a big thumbs up to let me know you were here. Click the bell for notifications. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Pass the video, share the video, do whatever you need to do. But, support a sister. Because, like I always say, if Arsenio Hall can subscribe, you can subscribe to the channel. I want to thank Kenneth Williams and Brandon for popping in and saying hello. And yeah, y'all, until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease. And I will see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.